For the YouTube subscribers. Go subscribe already. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe before I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
It's back, guys. UFC is back in our lives. Another weapon for me to add to the arsenal for all sports. Probably one of my, top 3 sports over the years. Long term. Already some drama, right? Already some drama in the UFC. Obviously, to kick off the new year, heard the Dana White news. Horrible to see. He has made a new press conference, actually, to the UFC reporters just yesterday. So check that out if you haven't. Already a main event change, right? Already a main event change to start the year. Tough to see. And look who's back in, Strickland. Strickland ended the year in a main event. Now he's getting another main event to start the year. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss the full main card like usual, provide free picks, leans, and maybe what to avoid. Hope everyone had a good new year. Shout out to all my long-term clients, new clients, video viewers over the years. It's much appreciated. Another profitable year in the UFC. A few highlights and big runs I just want to mention here. We had a 22-4. All fights run for a little longer term, 41-16. All fights run. That's 73%, guys. Longer term. Biggest single ticket win was Kevin Holland by submission plus 900. That was my biggest single ticket win on the year. Ton of big runs all year for UFC and clients. We got a bit cold in November going into December. However, we finished strong to end the year. If you want this card and all future client cards, head over to Systemcapping.com. Subscribe today. Again, I handicap multiple sports at a high level, whether it's NHL, NFL, NBA, UFC, PGA, MLB, and so on. System Capping on Twitter and Instagram, guys. That's where I'm most active. I post my winning tickets over there. Free plays, betting info, sports news, and much more. Like this video, it helps me out a ton. Comment, share to your friends that bet on the UFC or bet on sports in general. Detailed breakdowns each week along with free picks. No UFC updates, right? It's been about 3-4 weeks off. We're starting a clean slate for the year. We did end with a Jared Cannonier winner. I gave that out for free. Hopefully you guys did tail that. Also was client play. Hottest sports right now, NHL, NBA long-term, 66%. Long-term in both those sports, guys. We started good in the PGA with an outright winner, outright market. We hit with ROM plus 650 in the PGA. Expect another good year in the UFC and all sports. Let's hear from my friend Meredith before we get into this card.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Let's get right into this card, guys. Shop around for best prices. Remember, have multiple books. Shop around the market for best prices, especially UFC. They vary. Also, some books have some props, some don't. Have multiple books, guys. Don't just rely on one. Main event, Strickland minus 110 versus Imavov minus 110. It's a pick'em fight for good reason, guys. Very tough handicap here on a side. The books don't know what to do with it either, right? For good reason. Strickland's taking this fight on short notice, right? This fight is at 205, guys, not 185, right? Strickland's coming out of shape, a bit heavy. I just watched an interview with Schmo. He even admitted it. He was like 219, I think. He looked out of shape, and for good reason, right? He was planning a ski trip or something, he mentioned, and he got this call, right? So, yeah, he's always training. He's the type of guy that's always training. He's never going to come in great shape. You're never going to see him come into a fight ripped. He's not like that. He has his game plan. He goes in, tries to fight with volume and striking. You kind of know what you're going to get from him, right? The Cannonier fight, was able to go all 5 rounds. He's able to go distance in fights, so that I'm not worried about. Imavov, we don't know, right? He hasn't fought the 5 rounds. He hasn't fought to this level yet. So there is some questions there as well on that side. We know the difference here, right? Strickland's resume is the top guy, especially the last two fights. But when he steps up in this competition, he loses the fights, right? Pereira knocked out in the first round, and Cannonier, he lost the fight. He thought he won. I don't think he won this fight. He was saying he got robbed. Definitely he didn't get robbed. Close fight, sure, but Cannonier just landed the bigger shots, the more impactful shots, did the more damage, right? Strickland just was touching him here and there, right, with volume shots, but no big clear-cut shots. You know, you can just jab, jab, jab. Sure, if Cannonier wasn't doing anything back, maybe Strickland won the fight. But Cannonier landed the bigger shots in that fight. He was the rightful winner, definitely, in my eyes. Imavov, we know with him, right? He's on a nice four-fight win streak. He's climbing the rankings, right? He could be that next guy in line. It's just a level of competition he's not really proven yet. Right, Ian Heinisch, Shabazian, and Buckley, good wins, right? They're good wins. None of them are ranked. Just all good wins, right? You can't take away anything there. All three of those guys are dangerous. So that's something to keep in mind here. Imavov hasn't fought a 5-round fight. He's stepping up on short notice versus Strickland because it's a totally different game plan compared to Gastelum, in my opinion. And then Strickland also taking this fight on short notice. This fight's moving to 205. This has fade and stay away all over it. Right? When I'm betting for myself and for my clients, the reason I call it system is I have a system on where I have to hit about 4 or 5 different points, 3 if it's a smaller play, on why I like a fight. In this case, it's evening out on both sides. Right? Strickland, negatives are short notice, out of shape. The matchup is not great for him. So there's some knocks there, right? Imavov, you could technically say it's a short notice change as well. You can say he's never fought 5 rounds, and this is his toughest test yet. Let's see if he can pass it. Wait, hold off. Let's see if he can pass it. Gun to my head, I'm going to lean Imavov, but I just haven't seen it. I'm not going to bet it for clients. It's not going to make my client card this weekend. You know, volume is fairly somewhat even. Obviously, Strickland wins in the volume, but we have Imavov over 4, which is good. But Strickland, we know he's going to win the volume, and that's his path to win this fight. Strickland's path to win this fight is by decision. He just doesn't knock out guys. Imavov doesn't get knocked out either, right? He's never been finished. He's been submitted once, but we don't have to worry about Strickland submitting him, right? So Imavov, it's most likely going to go to decision, this fight, or a late stoppage. That's why I love the over 2.5 rounds, over 3.5 rounds in this fight. If you can get the over 2.5 rounds, it's going to cost you a little bit. Over 3.5 rounds, decent price out there, probably more in the high ones. Look for that. That's going to be my favorite bet on this fight, and wouldn't be surprised if this fight goes the distance. Side, flip of a coin, too many unknowns, so I advise to stay away from it. But I'd lean Imavov just for the video purposes, just due to Strickland just kind of taking this fight on 1 week's notice, out of shape, staying away from the side. Ige minus 120 versus Jackson plus 100. Interesting one here. You know, Jackson's getting a step up here, right after the 4-fight win streak. He's coming off a big win over Sabatini. He finished him in the first round. No easy thing to finish Sabatini in the first round. Jackson's usually fighting lower level guys, right? You got to keep that in mind. He has wins over Charles Rosa, Kirk, Argueta, and when he does step up in competition, which was a killer in Topuria finished him in the first round. Keep that in mind. Ige, who's on a 3-fight losing streak, it's against top of the division. So we do got to cut him some slack here. Korean Zombie, Josh Emmett, and Evolov. These are all top 10 guys in my eyes. Josh Emmett is a number 1 guy. He's about to fight for the title probably any day now. And then he has losses, obviously, against Cater as well. These are top-level guys. So this is a big step down for him. Jackson, dangerous. He's dangerous for sure. Great submission guy, 15. Ige just doesn't get submitted. Great black belt. Right? Jackson could get this fight down to the ground, but I do expect Ige to pop up. I expect Ige to be the better striker on the feet, land the better shots, has the more power, and we've seen Jackson be knocked out before against guys that have power and can strike. So I have Ige as the better striker, the more power. On the ground, I think Ige's not a wrestler, right? Jackson's not known for wrestling, more of a grappler type of guy. He could get you down to the ground. but I just expect Ige to be able to get back up, and I don't expect Jackson to find a submission on Ige. So I'm going to have to look Ige at the bounce back spot here. Maybe, I'm not going to say his job's on the line. He's a big name. He's fought some big names, but losing 4 in a row, you got to start thinking elsewhere maybe. You may have to have different plans moving forward. And I just expect Ige to get back on track here. Always fighting top level guys. This is a bit of a step down for him, even though Jackson can be dangerous. But where he's dangerous, I think Ige's good, not getting submitted. So I think Ige wins this fight. This probably will be a client play as well. Just to let you guys know, full card, obviously subscribe. Soriano minus 160 versus Kopylov plus 135. This is an ugly one, guys. Two guys that are tough to read, in my opinion. The Russian 1-2 in the UFC. He's coming off a win over Chirico, which isn't a big win, but respectable. Kopylov isn't known for his volume, just under 4. Both guys under 4. So, they look for the bigger shots. Doesn't wrestle either, the Russian. He's been taken down by Carl Robertson, and we know how to beat Carl Robertson is to wrestle. And Carl Robertson actually controlled him in that fight and won that fight. So that's a little concerning because Soriano does have wrestling in his back pocket. Soriano can wrestle. Will he wrestle? That's the big question, right? He falls in love with his big power in his left and doesn't always like to wrestle, but he has a wrestling advantage in this fight. So why not use it? Why not use it? Get that win. Get back-to-back wins here after a couple tough losses. Right? I expect Soriano, if he follows my game plan and probably his coach's game plan, to wrestle, make it a mixed martial arts fight, not a stand-up war. That's what Kopylovs wants. He has that reach advantage. He has that nice 75-inch reach. He's going to have a reach advantage over most guys. And that's how he wants his fight. He wants to keep this fight standing. So, go bring him to where he's uncomfortable. Bring him down to the ground. Make this a mixed martial arts fight and wrestle. And Soriano will pay off at this 160 price. I'll lean Soriano plus 160. His gas tank's a concern. And that's also why he doesn't wrestle as much throughout the fight, is because of his gas tank. So that does concern me. This is a fight I'll be staying off. I don't love the price. Obviously, there's some value on the Russian at plus 135. But both guys are inconsistent to get my money or my client's money. So I'm staying away from this fight. It could go either way, to be honest. So that's why I say there is value on the Russian. However, Soriano stays to the game plan and wrestles, he wins this fight. Next fight, Vieira minus 120 versus Pennington plus 100. This is a good fight. Very competitive fight. Very tough to call from a side standpoint. Very excited for this fight to see what goes. Probably the most exciting fight in my eyes on this card to see what happens. And the line tells you that, right? Should be a close fight. Should go the distance. Should go over the 2.5 rounds. And that's my favorite bet on this fight. Fight to go the distance and over the 2.5 rounds. Aside flip of a coin. Vieira has looked great, right, in the past 2 fights. However, she's fighting older girls. Holm still has it. I think she lost that fight against Holm. Somehow she won that fight. And then obviously the Misha Tate fight was impressive. She won that fight. But it's older girls, right? Pennington, not going to say she's a spring chicken, but Pennington's been fighting well. And this is the best she's looked. 4-fight win streak. Some decent wins over Chason and Ladd. And those are her biggest 2 wins of her career. And she's putting it all together, right? She's able to use her body and size. And I think she'll be able to do that against Vieira, maybe against the cage. So definitely some value here with Pennington at plus 100. It's an actual 50-50 fight, guys. So when I see a 50-50 fight, I don't see a clear-cut advantage. I just stay away. So what I do really like is the over 2.5 rounds and fight to go the distance. Probably will make my betting card, and somehow, probably in a 2-fight parlay. I don't bet straight these big lines. It's probably going to make it a fight parlay for me. But I'm excited for this one. This fight should be good. Both girls are rolling right now. Winner of this fight, title shot? I don't know if they'll get a title shot, but they'll be right there. And I just love what I see from Pennington's revived career. And she's just going to have to make this ugly to win the fight, and she could. She definitely could. Staying away from a side. There is a little value there with Pennington, but play the 2.5 over or fight to go the distance. What do we have open up the main card? Oh, look who it is. Umar. Umar is back. Nurmagomedov minus 180. Minus 800 I wish there was minus 180. I'd be pounding it. Versus Barcelo's plus 550. This line's moving. I see minus 900 up there. Barcelo's similar, plus 600, plus 550. I get it. But I also never thought I would see Barcelo's this high at plus 550, plus 600. So line value, yes, there's value. I just don't think he'll win the fight. Nurmagomedov's wrestling is much better than Barcelo's, and that's telling a lot because Barcelo's has some wrestling. His takedown defense is impressive, over 90%. So that's something to keep in mind. He just hasn't fought someone like this that can wrestle. That's another thing to mention here. So you're gonna know in the first round to see how the wrestling goes. And I think on the feet, even Umar probably has a slight advantage. We've seen Barcelos struggle as of late on the feet, which was a bit concerning. But like on the ground, I think Nurmagomedov is going to have trouble submitting Barcelos. Barcelos is very high level BJJ, very high level. So getting submitted, I don't see it. I can see maybe Nurmagomedov grinding out a decision. You're going to have to pay minus 200 for that. I don't pay outcomes that high. Right, you don't want to pay outcomes that high. You want to try to stay away from it. I would have to look the decision just because I think Barcelos could survive. He's not going to get ground and pounded. It would have to be Nurmagomedov finding a submission maybe in the later rounds. It's possible because he's that good and he's able to get submission. But Barcelos' submission game is very good. Very good. And on the feet, it's going to be somewhat even, but I think Umar's probably a little better on the feet as well. Barcelos older now, right? He's been in there with some good guys, of course, but this is probably going to be his toughest test yet. I expect Nurmagomedov to stay undefeated. Minus 800, yeah, if you do like a 3-fight parlay, which 4 or 5, you can throw him in there to help the line a little bit. I just don't see him losing this fight. It's going to be a step up for him, but I do expect him to pass this test. I do expect his wrestling to be better. It could be a close fight, but in the end, I expect the takedowns to be the difference and Nurmagomedov to win this fight. Again, we won't see Khabib in the corner. I'm pretty sure he was in his corner before. So that's something to keep in mind, but you'll still have a deep corner there. That will do it, guys. That will do it. UFC Vegas 67. UFC is back. Definitely excited for that. You'll see videos for me all year long like usual. I've been doing this and grinding this for 4 or 5 years now, so I do appreciate the support. But if you want my personal plays and client plays, head over to the website, get on board, and start profiting long term. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.